So hello, welcome back to the next class. Today we are going to start the topic human resource planning. All the topics that we are going to discuss in today's class are mentioned here for your reference. Now let's get into the class. So before directly entering into today's concept, which is human resource planning, let us understand certain fundamentals or basics first. Now, what do you mean by human resource planning? What do you mean by human resource planning in general? Planning related to human resource in an organization. See, every organization has certain objectives or goals, right? Now, in order to fulfill those organizational objectives or goals, it requires people, right? It requires manpower, right? Now, each and every planning part related to that manpower or related to the human resource in an organization comes under this particular concept called as human resource planning. That means basically this concept of human resource planning is a strategic analysis of the human resource in an organization. That means the planning related to what quantity of human resource is required, or the planning related to what quality of human resource required. Quality in the sense the knowledge, the skills, the capabilities and all these things. And the planning related to at what time the human resource is required, and the planning related to at what place the human resource is required. In this way, planning related to the entire human resource in an organization come under this concept called as human resource planning. So basically human resource planning in simple terms is planning related to human resource in an organization, right? Now let's move to the second concept. See, each and every organization has goals, objectives, as we already discussed, right? Now generally what happens is these particular organizational overall goals or overall objectives are broken down into many small goals. Now what do I basically mean by this? I'll give you an example. See, let us assume that you are the CEO of an organization. Okay, you are the CEO of an organization named A. Now let us also assume that in your competitive market there are total 4 players, out of which you are one, and apart from you there are 3 other competitor companies. Now your company's objective or goal is to be the number one company in the market. That means number one among all 4. Okay, so basically in order to attain that objective or that goal, your main goal of becoming number one is broken down into so many different goals. Like in order to be the number one in production point of view, how much should our production levels be, in order to be the number one in the market. In quality point of view, what should be the quality standards in order to be number one in the in the market, or among the competitors? What should be the performance level of the company, the output level of in terms of performance of the company. In this way you basically set different small goals based on your overall organizational goal, right? Now planning is required for each and everything, right? See, for example, in the same example, okay, there are 4 different companies, out of which you are the CEO of first company, and there are remaining 3 companies which are competitors to you, and your basic organizational objective or goal is to be the number one in the market, or defeat the remaining 3. Okay, now in order to defeat, your basic objective is defeating the remaining 3. In order to defeat that remaining 3, you have to you have to be you have to lead in the market in many different terms, right? They are basically broken down goals. Like you have to be number one in production capacity, you have to be number one in investments and all these things, you have to be number one in quality standards, you have to be number one in the performance standards, each and everything, right? In marketing, in sales and each and everything, right? So these are basically goals, okay, sub goals. That means based on your main goal, we have just what we did is we have broke your main goal into so many different goals. Now planning is involved, right? For example, let's take sales. Now you plan, right? If you want to be the number one in this particular example, in this particular market of 4 different players, and out of which you are one of them, if you want to be the number one, you have to plan regarding to each and everything, right? Let's take the example of sales. Now you have to plan, right? How much my sales should be in order to be number one, how much how much output should I produce in order to be number one, how much performance should I should I basically expect from my employees or my overall organization in order to be number one. In this way you plan for different in different aspects, right, relating to different areas. Now what I'm trying to tell here is the same way, like you plan for different things, you also plan for the workforce, right? How much workforce, or how many employees, or basically how much workforce will I require in order to attain my overall objective, organizational objective, right? Now that planning part relating to the human resource is this today's concept called as human resource planning. So basically human resource planning is a part of the overall organizational planning, right? That is the basic concept that you have to keep it in your mind. Now moving on to the next concept, or the next basic or next fundamental, what are the different situations where we do this particular human resource planning? That means in simple terms, in what all situations do you basically plan for the workforce? See, first of all you have to keep this point in mind is human resource planning is entirely future oriented. That means you are planning ahead for the future. Okay, that is basically human resource planning. See, in the name only, in the term planning only, you are telling, you are doing something in advance, directed towards the future, right? So basically human resource planning, future oriented. Now, what are the different situations where you do human resource planning? That means, what are the different situations where you sit down and plan, telling that, okay, we are going to require these number of, these many number of people, or we are going to require this much workforce, or we are going to require, this much skills, capabilities and all these things. What are the different situations where you basically do this particular human resource planning? There are so many different situations. Like, for example, see, when you have an upcoming project, that means when you have an upcoming, for example, you are a software company, you have an upcoming project in the next month or in the next year. Now, in order to do that particular project, you may require, more workforce, right? Now, that may be one situation. And there are also certain other situations, which out of which one is called as succession planning. That means, see, basically succession planning is a concept that we are going to deal, in when we talk about the subject human resource development. But basically what succession planning is, planning, about who is going to fill in the important positions in the organization. For example, there is this, vice chairman of the organization. Now he is going to retire. Now you are basically planning who is going to fill in that particular position after this particular person retires. That means who is going to take the, who is going to take that main lead role, or basically that important role, once he moves out of that particular job. That means, are you going to bring out someone from outside and, put that particular new person in the chair, or are you going to look after some, potential candidate within the organization and promote him to that particular important role? So basically this is succession planning in simple terms. Now, see, this succession planning is one concept which relates to both human resource planning as well as a concept called as career management, which we'll be, dealing with later. But at present, just remember that, this is one instance where we basically do human resource planning. Okay. First one is when you have an upcoming project. That means when you are going to get a project, or when you are going to get a requirement in the future relating to any work. That is one situation where you do human resource planning. That means that is one situation where you plan for the workforce in the organization. Second situation is succession planning, and you'll also be having various other situations. Like, for example, if your company is going for, mergers or acquisitions and all these things, then also you do human resource planning, right? For example, if you are planning for acquisition, that means you are, actually planning to acquire another firm. Now you have to do the planning, right? Okay, till now, our office is this much only. Now we are acquiring four more buildings. Our office will become this much. So, we require more workforce. How much, approximately do we require? In this way you plan, right? In those kind of situations also, in case of, mergers, acquisitions and all these things, right? So that is also one situation where you do human resource planning. We do human resource planning in different, if so not only these what all we discussed, there may be so many other, situations where we basically discuss, or we basically plan is the main word, where we plan for the human resource in an organization. So that is the main concept of human resource planning. That means all the planning related to the workforce, or basically the human resource in an organization, is generally human resource planning. Next, see, we have discussed telling that, this particular human resource planning, is future oriented, right? Now you also have to keep this point in mind, telling that human resource planning is a continuous process in organizations. You can't tell that, at one particular stage I will do human resource planning and that's it. No, you can't tell, because there may be so many different situations, suddenly arising, where you have to suddenly engage into human resource planning. Now we have discussed various different situations where basically we do human resource planning, right? Now there may also be other, certain reasons or certain situations where you have to suddenly, involve into human resource planning, or you have to suddenly do human resource planning. Like, for example, there is this, one particular incident that happened in your organization, like, for example, like, sexual harassment or whatever it is. Now suddenly, that had a great impact on all the employees. Now all the employees, or, majority of the employees suddenly left. Now there also you have to, you have to involve in planning, right? Okay, how many people left, how many people, how much work is left, how many people are we going to require in order to complete that work first. In this way, there also you do planning, right? And also, see, you cannot tell that, there will be no resignations in my, organization. Employees come and employees leave. You can't control when they come, when they go. You can basically control when they come in, but you cannot control when they go out. It's their wish, they can resign at any time. There will also be certain things like, voluntary retirements and all these things, right? These kind of things happen suddenly. See, retirements and all voluntary retirements you may expect, but, resignations and all these things, employees, attrition rate, and basically the concept of attrition and all these things, you cannot, you can, how can you, basically judge about, leaves, absenteeisms, attritions, resignations and all these things? So basically this particular human resource planning is a continuous concept in the organizations. Now, having talked about the basic, fundamentals or basic concept relating to human resource planning, let us get into the theory part. So the fourth unit, human resource planning. So let's start with the definition first. The systematic analysis of human resource in future, directed towards the future. That means here we are doing systematic analysis. That means we are basically, analyzing or basically the planning regarding the human resource, requirements in which are directed towards the future. For future, we are planning now. Okay. Now, the systematic analysis of human resource in future directed to minimize uncertainty and surprise and to eliminate wastage and mistakes. So this is the basic definition of human resource planning. That means the systematic analysis of human resource in future, okay, to minimize uncertainty and surprise and to eliminate wastage and mistakes. Now moving on, see, let us talk about certain small things related to human resource planning. I think most of these theoretical part we have discussed in the concept part, but just for your reference. Now, human resource planning is the first step in human resource management process, right? Once you plan for the workforce only, then only you will bring in that workforce and then you act upon them, right? So basically human resource planning is the first step in human resource management. Now, human resource planning is the process by which an organization ensures that it has the right number and right kind of people at the right place at right time, capable of effectively and efficiently completing those tasks that will help the organization achieve its overall objectives. So basically, this particular human resource planning ensures that we have the right number of people, right number of workforce or right number of human resource and the right kind of people in the sense, the required kind of, people with knowledge. That means people with required amount of knowledge, required amount of skills, required amount of capabilities and all these things. So basically coming back again, this particular human resource planning ensures that we get the right kind of people, right amount of people at the right time, and who can effectively and efficiently basically work together in order to attain the organization's goals and objectives. That is the main purpose of this concept, human resource planning. Now, human resource planning translates the organizational objectives and plans into the number of workers needed to meet those objectives. This is another important simple understanding related to the concept of human resource planning. If you want to explain this concept to anyone in simple terms, what is the basic purpose of human resource planning, or what does this human resource planning actually do? Basically, this particular human resource planning converts the organizational objectives into a different measure, which is number of workforce needed, right? So human resource planning translates the organizational objectives and plans into the number of workers needed to meet those objectives. Okay, this human resource planning gives you a number telling that, okay, that is your overall organization objective or goal, right? So you will be needing these kind of people, these many number of people at this time you will be needing. In this way, this particular human resource planning is converting the overall organizational objectives in terms of workforce needed to complete those organizational objectives and goals. Right? Now, the actual human resource management process starts with the estimation of number and kind of people required by the organization for the coming period. Okay, now human resource planning is also known by other names. Now this is an objective bit that you can actually expect. Human resource planning is also known by the other names, or basically human resource planning is also called as manpower planning, employment planning, labor planning, personal planning, etc. Okay, so human resource planning is a subsystem in the total organization planning. We have told, right? See, the entire, in order to reach the organizational objectives and goals, you will be having plannings relating to so many different elements. Like for example, you will be planning related to the output capacity that the organization has to produce. You will be having planning related to the investments. Similarly, you will also be having planning related to the manpower that is required to reach the, or basically to achieve the organizational objectives and goals. So basically here we are telling that this particular human resource planning is a part, or it's a subset of the overall organizational planning. Now, in other words, human resource planning is derived from organizational planning, just like production planning, sales planning, material planning, etc. So this is the basic concept or basic understanding related to human resource planning. Now, if you refer from different textbooks or different sources, you are going to have so many different extra topics related to human resource planning, which are also very useful, okay, which are also important, like the objectives of for human resource planning, the purposes of human resource planning, and all these things. We are not going to deal with all that. I just gave you the simple understanding or the basic meaning and all these things related to the term human resource planning, or basically the concept human resource planning. Now moving on to the next concept, which is human resource planning prerequisites. That means all the things that we need, or basically all the things from which we require support in order to execute this human resource planning in an efficient as well as effective manner. Now let us see what are the different prerequisites of human resource planning. So human resource planning prerequisites, okay, important things from which we need to have support in order to execute human resource planning in an effective as well as efficient manner. Now the first one is there should be a proper linkage between HR plan and organizational plan. Okay, we told, right, human resource planning is a part of organizational planning. We are telling that you should always ensure that there is a proper sync or both this human resource planning and organizational planning should be in sync with each other or should move parallelly simultaneously with each other. Now in synchronous, that basically I'm trying to tell that both of them should be synchronizing with each other. Now top management support is essential. Okay, see, this is also another important thing. Top management should always be supportive towards this human resource planning. Now for example, if you want to do human resource planning or if you are given the task of human resource planning and if the organizations the top management puts too many restrictive conditions without giving much support, now that will have an impact on the human resource planning, right? So the top management support is also necessary. Now proper balance should be kept between the qualitative and quantitative approaches to human resource planning. That means you have not only have to consider only qualitative aspect, you should also consider the quantitative aspect relating to human resource planning. Now what do you mean by putting a proper balance between the qualitative aspect as well as quantitative aspect? See, quantitative aspects in simple terms, just for an example, the number of number of workforce required, the number of employees required. Now qualitative aspects are basically their knowledge, their skills, their capabilities and all these things. So we are basically telling that there should be a proper balance between the qualitative aspects relating to human resource planning and the quantitative aspect in the human resource planning. Now involvement of operations manager is necessary. This is another important thing that you have to keep in mind as a good prerequisite for human resource planning. See, I'm not telling that without operations related people you can't do human resource planning at all, but basically we are trying to convey here telling that, see, if we have the support from the operations department or basically the operations managers, now that will have a very positive impact on your human resource planning, because they are the people who basically they take control of the floor, right? They take control of all the operations, so they will be knowing. So it is always good to have the support from operations managers. Now the next thing is proper alignment between short-term HR plans and long-term HR plans should be there. Okay, now HR plan should have inbuilt flexibility in order to adapt to environmental uncertainties. Now this is another important thing. See, the human resource planning that you are involved in or engaged in, or basically the planning related to human resource in the organization that you are doing, should always be flexible. That means there may be so many uncertain situations. For example, the project may be the project may get cancelled, or basically the project may evolve, or basically the project may expand, telling that we suddenly require more number of workforce. In this way, if any of these kind of things happen, that will definitely have an impact on your human resource planning, right? Now you can't tell that I made a plan in this way, but there was a sudden change in the the client, from the client point of view or whatever it is, so my entire human resource planning is waste. I did this particular planning in such a way that it cannot be modified and all these things. Now in this, if you do all if you do the planning in this kind of things, you will have a lot of damage, right? You have till now you have put in a lot of time, a lot of cost and all these things. So always remember, whenever you are doing a plan, a human resource planning, you should always remember that okay, you should always keep in mind telling that, okay, there is a chance that any uncertainty can happen. There is a chance that a sudden event may arise. So let me be prepared for this. That means you can do this from do this with so many different things, like for example, you can also have a backup plan, or you can also have a different source of backup, telling that, okay, if all the employees that I think will join my organization according to this particular plan do not join, then I will source new employees from these sources. In this way you are having backup plans, right? So basically you should always be sure that your particular human resource planning is flexible and is ready for any uncertainties. Okay, now the last point is the time period of HR plan should be appropriate to the needs and circumstances of the organization. Now what do you mean by time period of human resource plan should be appropriate to the needs and circumstances of the organization? Means, for example, say if this is 2020 January, for example, now if your organization is approached by a client who actually telling that, okay, this is 2020 January, in 2021 January I will come to your organization with a particular project. Now you have 1 year time period for this particular planning, right? You can't tell that okay, we have 1 year, right? Now now what if we don't get any employees? So what I'll do is I'll conduct the recruitment now only. I will take in all the new employees in this particular month only. If you do, what happens? See, all the employees will come, this is January 2020. Your project will start in basically January 2021. You have 1 year. Now, all your new employees will come and you have to make them sit idle for 1 year. Now, what happens if you do this in reality? The entire thing will collapse, right? The employees will leave. They'll tell that, why should we wait 1 year? And basically, you have, put in so much effort, so much time, so much, cost into this particular planning or recruitment, what all you have done in order to bring those employees, but you have to make them wait for 1 year, but they insisted and they left. Now, each and everything that you have invested is a waste of time, right? So basically, you always have to look after the time horizons also. So that is this point. Time period of HR plan should be appropriate to the needs and circumstances of the organization. So basically, these are the prerequisites, or basically these are the things from which, or basically these are the things which, when supported, result in an effective and efficient human resource planning, or basically your human resource planning would turn out to be more effective and more efficient if you had the support from all these kind of things. So these are basically human resource planning prerequisites. Okay, now moving on to the next topic. The next topic that we are going to discuss is a very important thing in this entire entire today's unit, which is human resource planning process. That means basically the process of human resource planning. That means where do you start, where do you end in this particular human resource planning. Let's look at that particular thing, which is human resource planning process. So let us understand this entire concept of the process of human resource planning through different examples. That means we will be looking at a real life example so that we could relate to this entire process of human resource planning. See, let us not take a single example or a single scenario. Let us take two different scenarios or two different examples, and simultaneously we will be looking at the process. So let us consider two different examples, okay, or two different scenarios. In the first scenario, let us assume there is this organization and I am the human resource head. That means I am responsible for the entire human resource planning in the organization. Okay, now let us assume that my organization has an upcoming project in the next year. So now my main objective is to do the human resource planning, or plan for how am I going to fulfill the required quantity of workforce, or basically required the required quality of workforce, at what time, and all these things basically relating to human resource planning. So I am the head responsible for human resource planning and I have an upcoming project in the next year. So I have to do human resource planning for that. This is the first scenario. Now let's take a second scenario. Now I am the I am the person responsible for human resource planning in an organization, and in my organization the board of the board of directors will be there, right? One of the board of director is going to retire, and generally what happens in my organizations is whenever a board of director member retires, all the senior managers in the organization are considered, and the one with more potential or more capabilities is generally promoted as a board of director member. Okay, this is a system followed in my organization. So in this scenario, one of the board of board of director is going to retire. So next I have to do the human resource planning in order to fulfill that particular position. It may be one board of director or two, whatever it is. So basically our example concept is that. So these are the two different scenarios that we are going to consider in order to understand this process of human resource planning, right? So what is the first and foremost thing that I have did here? I have basically stated my objective here. Why I am basically stating why am I doing this particular human resource planning here? Because I have an upcoming project and I have to plan for the workforce. So that is my objective here. That means basically make a plan relating to the human resource requirement in order to accomplish that particular project. The first objective in the first example. The second example, my main objective is to fulfill the position of the board of directors that is about to go vacant. Okay, now these are my two objectives that I have done first. Now what is the second thing that I have to do? The second thing is I will forecast the HR demand. That means I will be forecasting, okay, in the first scenario, okay, there is this upcoming project in the next year. So what do I require in terms of human resource? That means I will start to make a plan telling that, okay, how many people will I be needing? What are the knowledge, skills, capabilities and all these things that I am going to need? At what time should the employees be present? That means at what time should they join the organization? In this way, all the things relating to the human resource demand I will be planning. That means I will be forecasting. Basically I am basically here doing the demand forecasting. Similarly here also, right, I will be looking at what do I basically need, what kind of person do I need in order to fulfill that particular position of board of directors. What are the skills, what are the capabilities, what is the minimum experience, or basically what are the roles and responsibilities that that particular person has to do, and what are the different things that I have to look in a person in order to consider him as one of the person eligible in order to sit in that particular position of board of directors. In this way basically I am forecasting the demand. I am looking after the demand here, right? The first and foremost step that I did in both of the scenarios or both of the examples is I basically, stated my objective. That means I made my objective clear. The next thing is I looked after or basically I forecasted the demand. I forecasted the requirements. Now, what is the next thing that I do? I basically look after what all I have. I actually have. That means, we stated our objective. Then we looked after, the demand, how much is the estimated requirement. Then we, in the third step, see how much we actually have. That is the third step. Now, in the next step, what we do is we actually compare. That means, see, okay, I stated my objective. Let's talk about the first example where, upcoming projecting. I had an upcoming project. I stated my objective as that. Now I looked after, or basically I made a plan regarding, I basically forecasted the, requirement, future demand. Now I looked after how much I have. Now I'll be finding the gaps. Now this how much I have also, see, while forecasting the demand, we have looked after, how much, workforce, the quantity, how many number of employees may I need, how much amount of knowledge, skills, capabilities may I need, at what time should these employees be present. All those things we have looked in the second step. Then we moved on to the third step where we consider what all do we have. That means, okay, these are the requirements that I got in the second step. Now what all do I have, what all knowledge, skills, capabilities that I have, how many number of employees do I presently have, how many are ready to fill in that particular positions. In this way, this is the third step. That is where I look after what I actually got. Here also I will, in the third step, I will be looking after, okay, in order to be the board of directors of an organization, you have to have this level of knowledge, skills, capabilities, or expertise, and all these things. What do I actually have? What do the employees in my organization, the senior managers in my organization actually have? In this way, I will be looking after what I actually have. In the next step, I will actually find the gaps. This is the demand. This is your supply, actual supply. Okay, you look after the different gaps. Here also, this is the demand, this is the supply. That means this is what you have actually. You look after the gaps. The next thing is you will be, formulating different strategies how to fill in that particular gaps. For example, let's take the first scenario. Upcoming project next year. You stated objective. You basically did the forecast, future demand. You calculated your present supply. You found out the gaps. Now, in order to fill that gaps, what do? You basically come out with different strategies. That means you basically do the planning for different strategies, telling that, okay, how am I going to fill that particular gaps? Do I promote low level employees, or do I go out for any campuses and do campus recruitments, or do I post an advertisement? In this way, basically you're not implementing anything in both of these scenarios. You will not be implementing anything in human resource planning. You are only doing the planning part. Here basically you're planning on different things which you can do in order to fulfill that gaps. Okay, based on that you do the strategic planning and all these things. You finalize and you come to a plan, and the last thing you do is you basically monitor each and everything. You review and control. This is the first example. Now the second example also is similar. Basically, in the second example, what we told, one of the board of directors in my organization is going to retire. Now in my organization, one of the senior managers is promoted. So basically what that is my objective. Now I have looked at in the second step, I have basically forecasted, telling that forecasted about the demand, telling that, okay, what are the requirements in an employee or in a manager in order to become a board of director. In this way I have forecasted the demand. Now next I will be looking at what are the different things that I actually have in my senior managers. Now in this way you also have to look after what all do you have. You will actually try to find the gaps in the next step, and based on the particular gaps you will be coming out with basically different strategies and all these things. Here also you're basically planning. Okay, now here also in the last step you will basically do the review and control thing, where you monitor each and everything, like did everything go according to the plan? Okay, is anything is any scope of improvement in our planning, so that we could use to the use in future events, or basically we can find out any opportunities of improvement in our basically organization planning system. In this way you basically look after different things. That means monitoring and control part here. So this is basically the process of human resource planning in an organization, which I tried to explain using two different examples in two different scenarios. Now let's look at the theoretical concept, or basically the theory of this particular human resource planning, where you can relate each and every step in the process with each and every stage in these examples. Now let's move to the theory part. So the human resource planning process. The first and foremost important step is defining the human resource planning goal. That means without planning goal, that means without basically without an objective or a goal, you cannot do human resource planning. See, if you don't have a goal, for what are you doing planning? You can't actually start a plan without having a goal, right? Now it is fundamental to align the HR practices to the business goals at large. We have already discussed this, right? That means the organizational planning goals and the human resource planning goals should be in sync with each other. We have already discussed that, right? The same point here. So The human resource planning that does not encompass the holistic vision and mission of the business function is unstructured and unreliable. Okay, the same explanation. Now, so the best practice involves setting out a clear objective guideline to know what are your human resource planning goals. Here in the first scenario of the example, my planning goals are to fulfill or basically plan how to fill the human resource requirements in the organization for the upcoming project. Okay, this is the first scenario, the objective in the first scenario. So the objective in the second scenario is human resource planning in order to, or basically planning for fulfilling that or filling that board of director member. So you should have a clear defined human resource planning goals before you actually start this particular process. Now the second thing is forecasting the HR demand. In the example what we told, first you come up with the objectives, next you look after the future demand, the forecasting the demanding part. Okay, now analyzing the future manpower requirements of the business is a significant step in HR planning. Now, there are no absolute and objective conclusions to it, but a forecast can build around known facts like attritions, layoffs, retirements, promotions, etc. So here we are telling that you in most of the cases you cannot pinpoint the exact number of human resource requirement in this particular demand forecasting, but it's always good to have an estimated number, because when you do demand forecasting you also consider so many different things, like in the process, or basically in the first example we told that in the upcoming year. Now while doing HR demand, this particular demand forecasting relating to human resources in the future, that means while basically planning about the number of workforce that are required for the future project, now you also consider so many different things like layoffs, attritions, and all these things. Now further, there could also be uncertain factors like resignations, abrupt transfers, etc., affecting your employee retention rate, which are integral to study from the scope of analysis. So from this entire theory part of this forecast of HR demand, we are simply telling that, see, the next thing that you do after you are clear with your objectives is forecasting the HR demand or human resource demand. That means basically you are trying to come out with an approximate or estimated number of the requirement representing the human resource in the future. So here we are telling that we also consider in this process of making a forecast relating to the demand of human resource, we also consider so many different things or so many uncertain situations, like you will be having layoffs, you will be having resignations, you will also be having retirements and all these things. So including all these things, you basically do HR demand forecasting in the second step. Now moving on to the third step, which we actually discussed in both of the examples. The third thing is, once you did the human resource forecast, demand forecasting, what do? You actually check in what you actually have. Okay, now the third thing is analyze the current HR supply. Okay, the next step in an effective human resource planning is to analyze and assess the current resource availability and strength. Now it involves an exhaustive study of human resource of the organization in terms of skills, qualifications, experience, age, tenure, performance, designations, compensation, benefits, etc. See, in the example I told you, right? In the second step only, while forecasting the HR demand, we also look after so many. Basically, we basically look after so many different things relating to human resource. Like we look after the quantity of human resource. That means how much manpower, how many people we actually need. We also look after the quality, or basically we look after the content of this particular human resource. That means what kind of knowledge, what kind of skills, what kind of expertise, and each and everything, what kind of basically everything related to the human resource, we also concentrate on that thing, right? Now that is the human resource the demand forecasting part. Now we have moved on to the third step, where we are looking after what we actually have. Now there we looked after different things relating to the human resource. Here also we will be looking after different things relating to human resource. Here also we will be looking after how many people do we have, what is the content of the people that we have, and we will also be having how many people are ready to shift, how many people are ready to be promoted, or how many people are ready to be moved to the next position. In this way we are basically looking after what we have actually relating to what we need actually. So basically we are looking after what our supply relating to the human resource is in this third step. Now extensive meeting sessions with the managers and top leaders can help you identify the critical HR issues that they face and the impact on the business growth consequently. So basically we are telling that, see, while analyzing what we have, it is also recommended that you take the support from the top management or top officials or the experienced people, right? Now what we did in the next step, in the example, what we did, we tried to find the gaps. That means we know the demand. That means we don't know the exact amount, but we basically have a forecast relating to the demand. We know the this particular our basic supply. Now all we have to do is find the gaps. Now see the next step, know the gaps. Once the demand forecast is complete and you are ready with the blueprint of future needs, the second step, you will be able to identify the gaps against the previous study of availability of resources. The third step. Now, see the next two lines are basically wrong. Typos, they are actually the next step in this particular process. I have included here. So ignore this. So moving on, you just came to know your gaps, right? So moving on to the next step in the process, we have human resource planning strategy and implementation. See, basically we came out with the objectives. Based on the objectives, we formulated or we basically estimated or we basically have done the demand forecasting for the future. And next we have looked after what we actually have, and next we looked after the gap, and now we are actually going to formulate different strategies, and we are going to talk about how are you going to implement those strategies in order to fill the gaps. Now this particular fifth stage is called as human resource planning strategy and implementation. It has two sub stages. Now the first sub stage in this particular fifth step in the process is the planning stage, where you talk about how are you going to plan, and you will be having the second sub stage called as implementation stage, where we will be talking about how are you going to implement that. Now please remember, this entire thing is only planning. Whatever we are doing in this particular human resource planning is generally related to planning only. Okay, now let's look at what are the different things that we do in both of these sub stages. Now after reviewing the existing gaps between the demand and supply, that means after doing the second, third and fourth step, where in second step we looked after the demand forecast, third step the actual supply we have, fourth step the gap between the previous two. Now after reviewing the existent gaps between the demand and supply, it is time to create a sound plan of action that determines to fill the needs and meets of the forecast. Now we are actually talking about, okay, let's formulate a plan on how to fill those particular gaps. Now determine whether to hire, train or outsource manpower to meet the requirement, and also create a buffer. So basically what we are telling is, see, we have the gaps, right? So in this particular stage we are telling that, okay, we have to come out with a strategy, we have to come out with a plan on how to basically fill that particular gap. Now are you going to hire people, new employees? Are you going to train your present employees so that they could be ready in order to take that particular roles and responsibilities? Or are you going to simply outsource, basically, or bring the employees from outside on a temporary basis? In this way, here you are going to formulate different plans on how to fill, or basically how are you going to fill that particular gaps. And we also just said that also create a buffer, that means also have a backup plan. Okay, now to manage surplus, you can consider voluntary retirement, internal transfers, relocation and redeployment. Okay, for example, if your company has only one upcoming project, that means your company is already working on a project. Now this project is coming to an end. Now you are going to have an upcoming project. That means now you have for example, now you have 500 different software guys, and for your upcoming project you only require 100, right? Now what are you going to do with the extra 400? Now here we are telling that if you want to manage with this surplus, in this particular example we have a surplus of 400, right? Our future requirement is 100, we have 500. Now we have this extra 400, right? Now we are telling, okay, if you want to manage this surplus, you can do so many different things, like, see, voluntary retirement, internal transfers, relocation, redeployment to any other location where manpower is needed, and all these things you can do in order to manage the surplus. Now training and upgradation can also be used as an additional strategy to build internal capability resource. General point, training is not only an effective retention strategy but also serves your purpose to create a future ready workforce with the required skill set. So in this point we are planning planning in two different two different cases or two different scenarios, telling that, okay, if your future requirement is more and if you don't have too many things or too many workforce, now basically what you do, you either do hiring, or you do provide training, or you do outsourcing and all these things. But if your future requirement is less and if you have so much workforce, you can also consider different things in order to manage this particular surplus, like redeployment, or relocating them, or voluntary retirement and all these things. So basically here we are coming out with a plan on how to fill that particular gap. Now moving on to the second sub stage in this particular human resource planning part. Now let me read this entire paragraph. This is an entire general theory. Here we are basically looking at, see, what we are basically going to learn from this entire paragraph is you have basically come up with a plan telling that how to just fill in that workforce, how to just fill in that gap, or how to manage with the gaps, right? Now we are telling that in this particular, in this particular substage implementation stage, we will be telling that here we are also going to plan about all the other things which are involved with the implementation part. That means, for example, that is basically a plan on, how you are going to basically fill in the gaps. Now in order to do that, or in the process of doing that, you will be having so many different things, like you have to comply with so many different legal issues, or you have to have your top management support. In this way, this particular step of implementation stage tells that you also have to do planning in that sense. See, I will be reading out the theory just for your reference. See, implementing any strategy from paper to practice is the most challenging and daunting task, right? Now, many organizations fail to deliver when it comes to execution. Take your managers into confidence to make the implementation process smooth. Here we are telling that, okay, take your manager support also. Now, follow one step at a time to absorb and handle any unexpected resistance or challenge that you may face from employees. That means here we are telling that, okay, go slow, go process by step. Okay, there is no need to rush. You can take support from your top managers, or top employees, top management, and all these things, right? So give gradual conditioning to the execution plan so that your employees get to acclimate to the changes. That means, we are basically telling that, do different things while executing, or basically while converting this plan into action, so that your employees also adjust, do different things. Or basically you can basically tell them, telling that, okay, this is what we are going to do, this is how we are going to implement this. In this way, you do so many different things in order to make your employees adjustable, or basically preparing them to adjust to the changes. Now also, ensure that all necessary legal compliances and regulations are taken into consideration while implementing the human resource planning strategy to avoid any glitches. So in this entire substage, we are just telling that, okay, take care, while implementing, because this is one of the most difficult and one of the most important phase. There will be so many different organizations who are very good in planning, but they are not that good in implementation. And if you have put so much different so much different kinds of effort, like time, money, and all these things, but if your implementation part goes wrong, then that will have a negative impact on all the things that you have invested in. So basically in this sub step, we are telling that, okay, now in the previous step, in the previous sub step, you came out with a plan on how to fill that gaps. Now while trying to fill that particular gaps, that means while planning, okay, also take care of different things. In this way, for these kind of things also, we are basically planning. Okay, now comes the last step in the human resource planning process, which is review, feedback, and control. Now the process of successful human resource planning is ongoing. We already discussed, right? Human resource planning is a continuous process, right? Now it is important to have a frequent review of the actionable plan to know if your strategy is moving in the right direction and meeting the goals and objectives. That means it is very important to continuously keep on monitoring in your entire planning stage, saying that, okay, is in or at any moment of time, am I going out of sync with the organizational plans and all these things? So you have to continuously monitor your planning part in each and every step, telling that, okay, is this going in sync, is this going out of sync? In this way, you have to continuously monitor. Now monitor the progress of your plan regularly to mitigate any risks of failure. Okay, mitigate means avoid. Okay, basically in simple terms. Now create a handy and objective project management sheet. Create a handy and objective project management sheet to analyze and monitor the action plan to achieve this. Okay, it is always good to have a sheet which represents each and every step, so that you could use that as a source in while monitoring and all this, controlling and all these things. Now proactively avoiding the talent shortages and manage surplus to achieve the best talent pool based is an ongoing systematic process. See, in the previous substep we told, right, there may be different scenarios where after coming out with the gaps, you can either have a surplus, or you can either fall short. Now here we are telling that, see, this managing the surplus and managing the shortage, this particular management part is an ongoing process in an organization, because we cannot tell that an organization will have only one project. Projects will come and projects will go. Now the projects that are coming may require more workforce that we actually have, and in other case, the projects that we get may require less number of workforce than we actually have. In this way, this is a changing scenario, this is a dynamic scenario. So basically this management of shortage of manpower and surplus of manpower, basically this is an ongoing process. Now any major change in the business function or any new contract won will require you to realign the human resource planning. We have already discussed this, right? For example, see, if your planning is in one way, for example, if the client changed the project, or if we altered the project, or if we told that we are adding certain elements for this particular project, in this way, if any changes happen, basically that will definitely have an impact on your human resource planning, right? So that is the point that we are telling, that okay, there is also a chance that in these particular kind of situations happen, and if these kind of particular situations happen, that will definitely have an impact on your human resource planning. That is the general point that we are trying to tell here. Now, also, there could be different planning models within the same organization to meet different departmental needs. See, we have already discussed this, right? There are so many different kinds of planning which overall contribute to the organizational planning. Okay, now a strong and detailed eye on coordinating all the factors put together can help you develop a robust plan. So here we are basically telling that, see, if you have a strong eye on each and every detail, that means if you have collected most of the information, that means, see, simply we are telling, the more information, the more relevant information you have, the more good your plan is going to be, or the more robust your plan is going to be. So basically, this is the process of human resource planning. That means, in organizations, the planning relating to the human resource is basically termed as human resource planning, right? So while doing the human resource planning in an organization, you follow a certain order. First of all, you start with the general objectives, the basic goals, the objectives for why are you going to do this human resource planning. Next, what you do, you basically forecast the demand, right? Demand forecasting comes next. That means basically, in order to fulfill your objective, what kind of manpower, what quantity of manpower. In this way, how much manpower required, the entire manpower requirements, you are basically looking in the second step. Now, in the third step, what you do is, okay, in the previous second step, we came out with the requirements. Let us see what all that we actually have at present. That is the third step. The fourth step, what you do, you compare the previous thing. That means, previous two things. That means you compare the requirements, you compare what you have. Based on that, you will be having gaps, right? That is the next step. Now, after that, what you do, you look after, how to fill these particular gaps. That means you basically come out with different strategies, telling that, okay, we are going to fill that plan using this, using that. In this way, here you are planning. And the last thing that you do is you review, control, monitor, and all these things, telling that, okay, is everything going according to my pre-schedule or pre-plan, or is everything going according to, or basically is my human resource planning going in sync with the organizational planning. In this way, you review each and everything. So this is basically the process of human resource planning in organizations. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is called as challenges faced during human resource planning. That means, see, we are basically from this particular topic of challenges of human resource planning, we are basically trying to understand, see, while doing human resource planning in an organization, there is a chance that you may face problems or challenges, or resistance from these different areas. So always we have to keep an eye on these things, because there is a chance of resistance, or there is a chance of problem, or there is a chance of disturbance from these different sources. Basically, we learn this topic called as challenges of human resource planning, or challenges faced during human resource planning, or challenging sources of human resource planning. In this way, we learn this particular topic so that we could just know different areas where we should actually be careful during human resource planning. Okay, let's look at the challenges of human resource planning, or challenges faced during human resource planning, or the different sources of challenges during human resource planning. So the next topic, challenges of human resource planning. The first area, okay, which may give a challenge is the resistance from the workforce. Now, while discussing the job design, that means the one of the previous topics, while discussing the job design, we told a particular topic, or we basically discussed a particular topic, telling that different considerations while job design. That means before restructuring or structuring a particular job, there are different things that you have to consider, and one of those different considerations was a behavioral aspect, telling that, okay, before changing anything or before structuring anything, you always have to consider what employees think, or basically you also have to consider from the employees point of view, because the employees point of view, the behavioral concept relating to the employees point of view has one of the most powerful impact on the organization. I already told you, we already discussed this in the previous classes. So here also we are telling that, see, this resistance from workforce is also a concept which is related to behavioral aspect. Now see, if you still have a doubt, telling that see, basically we are doing human resource planning, that means a planning intended for future purpose. Now why will the employees, or why will the workforce resist this? Now what is the point of why generally will workforce will resist something that the organization is planning for future thing? How does this basically work? See, we are going to look after different examples where there is a chance that employees will resist. Okay, but first let's look at the theory part. See, the first area of challenge of human resource planning is the resistance from workforce. Now, the most permanent thing in the world is change. Now, yet humans are the most change averse. That means humans are, humans are more opposing, or basically human are more opposite to changing. That means, whenever you bring a concept of, changing something in organizations, there will be a hell lot of employees who will basically, resist, telling that okay, we don't want to change, because if you want to bring in a change in the organization, we have to change, or there are so many different things that we have to adapt to, we have to evolve to, and all these things. So basically change is, one of the most important stressed concept in an organization. When we deal with the subject of organizational behavior, we have an entire unit called as change management. Okay, now see, any alterations in the regular course of life are uncomfortable. Employees may feel extra workload due to the change in the plan and may resist it. This is one of the reasons why employees may feel, employees may resist. See, let us take different examples where there is a chance that, employees may resist. For example, see, uh, if if your future, requirement, workforce requirement is some 110, okay. Now your present human resource supply is 100. Now if you plan in a way telling that okay, I don't think, I need to hire that extra 10, human resource, or extra 10 employees. I will actually increase the workload. That means I will, instead of hiring the 10 extra required people, what I'll do, I will basically distribute all those, 10 people's work, workload, all these things among the 100 employees. Now there is a chance that, employees may resist it, telling that okay, you are giving us the same salary, but you are increasing basically the workload. We cannot do, we don't have time to do, we basically cannot do, that is impossible, we don't have training. In this way, these particular employees may resist. That is there is a chance for that, right? Now in this way, this particular area of, resistance from workforce, this concept of resistance, from the workforce may create a challenge while human resource planning. Now moving on, you also have this thing called as rapidly changing environment. Now this rapidly change, basically business environment is dynamic nature, it keeps on changing, it keeps on updating itself, it keeps on evolving. Now that particular thing, that particular, factor relating to environment also can have an impact on the human resource planning. How? See, uncertainties like employee attrition, resignations, market dynamics, or technological changes influence the impact, or basically have an impact on human resource planning. Right? Now cost and time investment. Now the amount of cost invested, or the amount of time in, invested in human resource planning also, has an impact, or also, can become a challenge to the human resource planning. Right? Now see, if for example, if you are a very big, multinational company, and you don't have too much time, that means you are constantly engaging in different projects or different activities. Now you are going to, take up a different project. Now you don't have too much time for this human resource planning. Now you have to plan a lot, but you don't have time. If you have, different restrictions relating to the cost or the time, then this may also act as a challenge, for this human resource planning. That is what I'm trying to convey using this particular thing, telling that okay, in this cost and time investment aspect area also, this human resource planning may face challenges. Now see, completion of all stages of human resource planning is time consuming and involves a huge amount of manpower and facility cost. Okay, now mid-sized companies at times do not possess the required budget or resources to engage in proper planning. Now we have taken the example of very big multinational company. Here in this theory part, we have taken the example of mid-sized companies. Okay, so basically, time and cost also, create challenges for human resource planning. Now incomplete data and information, this is a normal thing, this is a general thing. If you don't have, see, the lack of, proper information, or proper data always creates a challenge to human resource planning. That means you always have to take care that okay, I have sufficient data, I have sufficient information, I basically collected the relevant thing, I basically collected the required amount of information. You should always, review and control these things also, so that these particular things further do not create a challenge to your human resource planning. Right? Now the lack of accurate data around employee information, especially with unstructured small organizations, pose a hurdle in creating a concentrate plan. So basically, these are the areas where you have to be careful in organization while doing the human resource planning, because there is a chance that these particular areas give you a strong challenge while actually doing the human resource planning. This is this small concept. Okay, now let's move on to the last topic in today's class, which is the factors affecting human resource planning. And before directly entering into the concept, let me give you this, telling that in this particular concept of factors affecting the human resource planning, we are going to look after the different factors, which have an impact on human resource planning. That means any change in these factors will have an impact or will also require the change in the human resource planning and all these things, right? Now, while dealing with or while talking with these, different factors impacting the human resource planning in the organization, we will also sometimes hear these, challenges. That means we may also hear resistance, from workers as one of the factors. You may also, hear the incomplete data and information as one of the factors and all these things, right? So don't get confused, and because I'm just telling you, because some people will ask telling that, okay, we have just discussed, these things as challenges. Now why are we discussing again the same thing as, factors affecting human resource planning? There, while talking about the previous topic, the topic that we just discussed, the challenges relating to human resource planning, we are just trying to understand that, okay, in these areas you have to be careful. Now, in this particular topic that we are going to deal with are factors, right? Now we are telling that, okay, in this, these particular things have an impact on the human resource planning. Challenges also have an impact on human resource planning. Whereas these factors, any change in these factors will definitely have a, will definitely have an impact on the human resource planning. These are the factors that have the capability to impact or, affect the human resource planning. Whereas these are the challenges where there is a scope of, any challenge. Okay. We are telling that while doing human resource planning, you have to keep these particular challenges in mind so that you don't face any challenge or any problem there. Now here, see, both of them are similar, both of them are not same. That is what I'm trying to convey. Now let's move on to the last topic, which is the factors affecting or factors impacting the human resource planning. Okay. Now there are so many different factors that have the capacity to affect the human resource planning in an organization. So what we did, so basically there are so many different factors, right? Now all these factors that impact or affect or have the capacity to altercate the human resource planning in the organization are basically categorized into two groups. One are external factors, that means the factors that are present outside the organization but still have an impact on the human resource planning in an organization, and internal factors, the factors which are present within the organization and also have the impact on the human resource planning. So basically these are the different two groups of factors that we are going to look at now. The factors affecting human resource planning, very small concept, a very easy concept. I think just looking at the theory we can just get a basic idea of this entire concept of factors affecting human resource planning. And I'm again telling that challenges are different from factors. Both of them can actually have a strong impact on the human resource planning, whereas challenges, the previous topic, challenges of human resource planning, are the areas where we have to be careful, and these are basically the factors which can impact any change in this particular factor. It will definitely have an impact on the human resource planning, whereas challenges are the area where we have to be careful, and any change in this this particular challenges, we should actually have to deal carefully. So basically moving on with this topic, factors affecting human resource planning, a small topic, simple topic, just theoretical concept. See, several factors affect human resource planning. These factors are classified into external factors and internal factors, as we already discussed. Now, what are the different external factors? That means what are the different factors outside the organization which have an impact on the human resource planning, or which may have the impact on the human resource planning, or any change in these particular factors will definitely have an impact on the human resource planning. See, so the first external factor is level of economic development. See, the level of economic development determines the level of human resource development in the country, right? That is the true, and thereby the supply of human resource in the future of the country. So here we are telling that, see, if a country or if a state or if a place is economically well developed, it is highly possible, or there is a high chance, or there is a high probability that the human resource in that particular place or country or state is also well developed. Now, if this particular the human resource in an organization, in a country or in a place or a state is well developed, now our human resource planning is kind of easy, right? That means we can basically rely on that particular human resource, right? That means you are telling since the, for example, let's take a nation. Since this particular nation or this particular country is economically well developed, there is high probability that the human resource in that particular country is also well developed. Now we can freely do our human resource planning without any without any third ideas telling that, or second ideas telling that, okay, do we or will we get the human resource that we required? Is there any chance that we don't get the human resource that we required? We'll not be having these second thoughts in most of the cases, right? That means we can most certainly or most probably or in most of the cases we can freely do the human resource planning, right? So this particular level of economic development also has an impact, right? So this is one of the external factor of the human resource planning. Now the second external factor is international factors. Now international factors like the demand and supply of human resource in various countries also affect the human resource planning, right? For example, if I am a company in India, and if I am starting my if I am starting my subsidiary in, for example, a different country. Now the availability of the required human resource in that particular other country where I'm trying to start my subsidiary, also it has an impact on my human resource planning, right? That means while planning for human resource, I should also consider these international factors, like will human resource be available in that particular place, or will the human resource work according to the plan that I am going to do in that particular nation. Who knows, maybe their rules may be different, our rules may be different. In this way, international factors also have an effect on the human resource planning. So this is the second external factor. Now the third external factor is business environment. Now business environment means the internal and external factors that influence the business in general. Now business environmental factors influence the volume of mix of production and thereby supply of human resource in the future of the country. So we are telling that, see, based on the dynamic nature of a business environment, or basically a business environment also has the power to affect or impact the human resource planning. Like in simple terms, like for example, wage curves and all these things, or the available wage rates and all these basic demand, supply, and of all these basic factors that have an impact on the business environment also have an impact on the human resource planning. Now government policies, okay, one of the other external factors that have an impact on the organization, one of the most common thing, government policies. Now various policies of the government, like the labor policy or industrial policy towards reserving certain jobs for different communities and sons of the soil, etc., also affect human resource planning, right? Now see, for example, if you are basically planning to start an organization in any particular state in India. Now if there is a if there are no government policies, then you are free to do the planning. Now if there are any certain government policies telling that, okay, if you want to start an organization in this particular state, half of the employees should be from that particular state, and in the rest, this much percentage of the employees should be women, this much percentage of the employees should be men, no children, or only adolescents. In this way, if government restricts, or if government basically rolls out different policies, that will also have an impact on the human resource planning, right? Now initially, in the situation or in the scenario where there are no government policies, I am free to do the human resource planning. Now if in the second scenario where there are so many government restrictions, or there are so many government policies and all these things, now I have to carefully plan my human resource planning, or basically carefully do the human resource planning by keeping all these things in mind, right? So basically we are telling that the government policies can also affect the human resource planning. So this is one of the external factors. Now the last external factor that we are going to discuss is the level of technology, the most common one. Technological changes have an impact on the human resource planning, right? Now technology can be interpreted as the application of knowledge to practical tasks which lead to new invention and discoveries. Just a general bit. The invention of latest technology determines the kind of human resource required. Okay. Now, for example, see, if C programming is prevalent in the market, okay. Now, if suddenly a new platform, like that Java platform for programming, is released, now your human resource planning will also be impacted, right? Now, who knows if all the new clients that your organization is getting are want their projects to be completed on Java platform, but till now all the employees in your organization have been working on C platform. Now your planning, the entire planning gets affected, right? Because the second step of human resource planning, what you do, you forecast the demand. Then what you do, you look after what you actually have, right? Now if all your employees are basically working on C programming, or have worked on C programming, and suddenly your new client asks, or basically demands, or chooses, or decides that his project should be completed on Java platform. Now come to the third step of the human resource planning planning process, where you look after what are the available human resource supply in your organization. Now the entire thing becomes zero, right? That means all your employees work only on C programming. The required thing is Java programming. Now you can't match this, right? Now this particular supply, your particular HR supply, becomes zero, right? So basically any new technological changes also have an impact on the human resource planning. So this is one of the external factors. Now, having talked about the external factors, let's move on to the internal factors. That means factors within the organization which have an impact on the human resource planning. See, so the internal factors, okay. So the first internal factor is the company policies and strategies. See, the organization's policies and strategies related to expansion, diversification, etc., determines the human resource demand in terms of quality and quantity. General bit, right? See, for example, if you are if your organization is going for any strategic plans, telling that I'm looking for acquisition, I'm looking for merging and all these things. Now that will definitely have an impact on the human resource planning, right? So that is what we are actually telling, that the company's policies and strategies also have an impact on the human resource planning. So this is the first internal factor, the factors present within the organization which have an impact, or which can affect the human resource planning. Now the second thing is human resource policies in particular. Okay, human resource policies of the company are about the quality of human resource, compensation level, the salaries, the quality of working conditions, the general working conditions, etc., influence the human resource planning. Okay, now the third internal factor is the company's production and operation policy. Now the company's policies regarding how much to produce and how much to purchase from outside or from manufacturing or the final product influences the number of kind of people required. For example, see, let's take a manufacturing industry. Okay, let's take a manufacturing industry. Now so many different kinds of things can happen in manufacturing industry. Like for example, there may be organizations, or there may be factories which manufacture the entire product, right from the raw materials to the end product. Now there may also be different industries, or different factories, or different organizations which basically do not start from the raw materials. That means they actually procure different already built spare parts, and they basically assemble each and every spare part, and they make as a whole end product, and they basically basically bring that out into the market. Now see, the human resource planning for these kind of organizations, and these kind of organizations will be different, right? Here, if you want to do human resource planning, since each and every other task is done in detail here, you will be requiring more number of human resources. In this way, you will be requiring a different number of human resources here. So based on the company's production and operational policy, this particular human resource planning may get impacted or affected. So this is considered as one of the internal factors affecting the human resource planning. Right now, moving on, the next internal factor affecting the human resource planning is the trade unions. Okay, one of the most important, one of the most common thing that we will also be looking at how is this going to impact in while we are discussing the industrial relations, like what are the different things these particular trade unions can do. Now in case it is declared by the unions that they will not work for more than 8 hours in a day, it affects the human resource planning. Now how? For example, if there is an upcoming project, so that employees work for 9 hours a day in your office, so you basically know how much work is being done per day. Now based on this assumption, you make a human resource planning for the future. Now suddenly in the meanwhile, these particular trade unions come out with their opinion, telling that okay, we are not going to work for 9 hours a day, we are only going to work for 8 hours a day. So initially your planning is based on the assumption telling that employees work for 9 hours a day. Now suddenly the contribution of time, or basically the contribution of work and contribution, each and every contribution from the employee is being reduced by 1 hour a day, right? Now that will definitely have a change in your human resource planning, because you made that entire human resource plan based on certain assumption which is now changed, right? So the trade unions also have an impact on the the human resource planning in this particular way. This is one of the scenario. There may be so many different other scenarios, but this is one of the scenario. Now therefore, the influence of trade unions regarding the number of working hours per week, recruitment sources, etc., affecting the human resource planning and is to be kept under consideration. Okay. Now another internal factor is the organizational growth cycles. Now we all know, see, there is this concept called as organizational growth cycle, which tells that in which stage is your organization in a particular thing called as a growth cycle. Now this growth cycle has 4 different stages, telling that initial stage, you have growth stage, and you have this maturity stage, you have this decline stage. Now initial stage is where the organization is its initial time period, where it is it is just introduced, or in the starting stages, in the early phases of the organization. Okay, now moving on to the next stage, which is growth stage, where the organization is in the growth path. That means it is booming, it is growing, it's rapidly growing, right? Now you reach the maturity stage, where the organization is performing at its peak. Now you have the decline stage, where the organization's performance, or basically the organization is declining, is basically in the declining curve, or in the declining path. Okay, these are basically the 4 stages in the cycle, basically in the organizational life cycle. Okay, now based on in which stage your organization is in these 4 life stages of the organization, your human resource planning will also get impacted. Okay, now at the starting stage, the organization is small as such. This is a typo, let me read it in the correct way. but it is natural that the need of employees is usually smaller. Okay, so at the starting stage, the organization is small as such, but it is natural that the need of employees is usually smaller. So in the initial phases, the the requirement of the number of employees will usually, not in all cases, usually be smaller. Now, however, by the passage of time, as the organization enters the growth phase, more young people need to be hired. Likewise, in the declining stage or recession or downturn phase, human resource planning is done to retrench the employees. So basically we are telling that based on in which stage your in which stage of the growth cycle your organization is currently in, your human resource planning will also be affected. Okay, now moving on to the next thing, job analysis. Basically, job analysis means detailed study of the job involving the skills needed for a particular job. We already discussed that job analysis means each and every piece of information relating to a job. Now, human resource planning is based on job analysis, right? Which determines the kind of employees to be procured, right? Now, time horizon. The company's planning differs according to the time period of the forecast, right? That means, see, for example, whatever example we have taken till now, we discussed that we have an upcoming project after 1 year. Similarly, we'll also be having upcoming projects after 2 months, after 3 months, after 4 months. So based on the time period that we have, our human resource planning will also get impacted or affected, right? So that is what we are telling, that the time horizon is also one factor that affects the human resource planning in an organization. Now, the last internal factor that has a capability or basically that affects the human resource planning in an organization is the type and quality of the information. This we have already read as one of the challenges in human resource planning, that is the type and quality of the information. See, every planning process is in need of qualitative and accurate information about the following: organizational structure, capital budget, the functional area objectives, the level of technology being used, the job analysis, the recruitment sources, the retirement plans, the compensation level of employees, that means the basic salaries running in the organization, etc. Hence, the human resource planning is determined on the basis of type and quality of the information. So based on the the information flow in the organization, or basically each and every information in the organization, based on that our human resource planning is also based or is also impacted or affected. Okay, so today we have started the topic of human resource planning, where we started by trying to understand what do we basically mean by human resource planning, and we also looked after the basic relation between the overall organization planning and this particular human resource planning. We discussed about certain other small concepts using so many different examples, and we also looked after what are the different situations in which we usually do the human resource planning. And then we started to move to the main topics like what are the different prerequisites of human resource planning, or what is the basic process of human resource planning and all these things. And next we moved on to certain important but small concepts telling that what are the challenges that can be faced, or basically what are the challenges of human resource planning. And then we concluded today's class with the topic of what are the different factors that affect, or basically the factors affecting the human resource planning. So that is basically human resource planning, right? So basically here we discussed only the planning part relating to the human resource. In the upcoming concepts that we are going to, or basically in the upcoming units, we will be discussing the conversion of this plan into action. That means, see, in the process of the human resource planning, in one of the steps we told that here we are going to formulate different strategies on how we are actually going to fill the gaps, right? Now all those strategies implementation part we will be learning in the upcoming units. That means we will be looking after recruitment, selection, placement, and all these things, which basically involve, or which basically tell us how to implement these plans into actions. So relating to the human resource planning, we'll stop here, and we will be looking after what are the different things that we basically do after human resource planning in the next upcoming classes. That has been today's class. Thank you.